And today we'll continue this with this wonderful book. Wonderful book. I love Isaac Asimov, and this book is on history. It's called Chronology of the World. It's actually history of the world. And what he has done is he has taken centuries. Like this video now we'll be doing 3,500 to 3,000. We have done Sumeria already. So under 3,500 to 3,000 BC. He has put it under regions. So Sumeria is over. Today we'll do Egypt. Please see the earlier videos and you come to this. And each is like a lovely story, endless stories of history, I call it. So, Egypt, between 3,500 to 3,000, remember that. Egypt quickly picked up the notion of writing from the Sumerians, but invented a different set of signs, as complicated in its way as the current form. Cuneiform. The Egyptian writing is called hieroglyphic, from Greek words meaning priestly writing, because the Greeks later came into contact with it mostly in Egyptian temples. The Egyptian writing was brushed onto thin, flexible sheets of papyrus pith, Pith. As in Sumeria, there was a multiplication and growth of city states along the river. As city states enlarged their boundaries and grew more populous, their territories were bound to run into each other, and their interdependence grew, right? As the occasion for antagonism increased with mutual crowding, the need for cooperation also increased. The irrigation system could not be controlled efficiently in bits and pieces. Different city states had to act together. It's a very great point. The city states of the triangular Nile delta downstream formed a loose union known as the Lower Egypt, while those upstream to the south of the delta made up Upper Egypt. About 3100 BC, the two regions were united under the rule of Narmer, Narmer, known as Menes, to the Greeks. He was intelligent enough to found, to start a new capital, Memphis, at the southern end of the delta, right on the border of Upper and Lower Egypt. So, a very intelligent king. So that neither region would seem to be dominating the other. It kept the two halves together long enough to establish a national identity. Narmer was the first king of the first dynasty. An Egyptian priest, Manetho, about 250 BC, wrote a history of Egypt and divided its rulers into dynasties, each dynasty representing a family whose members ruled over Egypt for a period of time. The union was probably carried out by force. But if so, it worked, for the Egyptian city states shared a common language and culture. They melted together with less trouble than might have been expected and formed what is called a nation. It was the first nation the world had seen. Part, Partly this worked because Egypt was bounded by a desert on the west, by the Red Sea on the east, by the Mediterranean Sea on the north, and by a more or less impenetrable jungle on the south for a long time. The only route over which possible invaders might come was from Asia by way of the Sinai Sinai Peninsula, and for a long for a long time they didn't come. Egypt could therefore develop in peace something other nations rarely had a chance to do. So, how interesting it is. The geography helped them. And there's next subheading, which is small, three subheadings. All three we can complete: Canaan, Asia Minor, and elsewhere. This is between 3,500 to 3,000 BC. Essence. He's giving essential facts. He can obviously give everything. Canaan, Cannaan. Canaan is a land along the shore of the eastern end of the Mediterranean Sea. It was among the oldest centers of civilization, for it was there that Jericho, Jericho, had existed. It was located between the civilizations of Egypt and Sumer Akkad, and Its people served as middlemen in trade between these two sections. This that always means prosperity, since middlemen can skim the profits in either direction. An alternate name for Canaan, especially for cities along the shore, was Phoenicia. Phoenicia. This was used by the Greeks further from their word for purple because in later centuries a purple dye was manufactured there. The northern portion of Canaan, Canaan, came to be called Syria, Syria. In later times, this again being a Greek name, in later times, this again being a Greek name taken from that of a tribe that lived in that region, and that completes Canaan. So we have mentioned Canaan. So we have Syria, we have Egypt, we have Canaan. Now we have Asia Minor. Asia Minor is a peninsula in Western Asia that is now occupied by the nation of Turkey. It may also be called uh, Anatolia. Catalhuyuk, Catalhuyuk, had flourished there, but that town had declined and disappeared, and other city states now existed there. In the northwest corner, the first signs of a city began to appear that was eventually to be known as Troy, Troy. Elsewhere, the heading is Elsewhere. To the east of Samaria was Elam, Elam, with its capital at Susa, Susa, which was beginning to absorb Sumerian civilization. Still farther to the east, agriculture was beginning in the Indus River in what is now Pakistan. Farther east, still the city states of Huang Ho in China were growing. Civilization was moving into Europe too, for the island of Crete, which lies south of Greece, was beginning to be affected by civilization from Egypt. So slowly the world was moving ahead. That is the lovely stories of history. And history, at least I like to read history just for itself, for the lovely stories it gives about this world only, no? But then it gives a feel, Anyway, I hope you liked it. We'll meet next in with subheading of Egypt, but 3000 to 2500 BC. So we are slowly coming to the chronology, and he'll bring it till 1950. So let us have the journey. Let's not let's forget the goal. Let's enjoy each story. Thank you.